Hello everybody, this is ManuS and welcome back to the next part of the Eternal set review for the new set Dark Frontier. And today we're going to conclude the fire cards with the fourth and final part of the fire cards before we move on to the time cards in the next part. As you all know, you know the drill. Hit the subscribe button, turn on the notification icon to not miss out on future content, and please consider whitelisting EternalTitans.com and YouTube on your adblock. That's a great way to help support the free content without spending any money other than investing a little bit of extra time, and that would really mean a lot to us. And now on to the fire cards. Alright, so let's take a look. First we have Rally Sergeant. Not a particularly impressive card, limited only card. 5 power 4/4 is overcasted, and with Onslaught it's a 7/4. So that's fine, nothing too great, but seems like an okay limited 5-drop. Nothing exciting though. And then we have Waystone Elemental, a 5 cost 4/6 that costs 1 less for each of your shifted units, which I think in Constructed it's just not gonna be relevant enough. There's not enough good shift cards to play, and you don't really want to like delay all your board impact by like 3 turns and stuff. And yeah, Entomb, you play 2 shifted 2/3 shardlings. Just yeah, 2/3s that have shift 3 if they end up in your hand somehow. So pretty underwhelming. In limited, however, this seems like a pretty decent rare, but also not super exciting, but fairly good still, because you might get it for like 4 power, and then a 4 cost 4/6 is pretty strong, and the Entomb is like icing on the cake. So limited, yay. Constructed, nay. Next we have Plate Master Daimyo, or however you pronounce it. It's a 6 cost 5/4 Oni, and if you play him with Onslaught, you draw a weapon from your void for each attack you or your units made this turn. Which unfortunately is pretty underwhelming, I think. First of all, the stats are pretty weak for a 6-drop. How many weapons do you really expect to have in your void, especially ones that are impactful to get back? If there are multiple relic weapons, it doesn't do that much, because you can only use 1 relic weapon at a time. So yeah, pretty underwhelming. Kind of a bad card. In limited, however, it still seems like a solid 6-drop card in a deck that has enough weapons. But even that is not that easy to accomplish, so even in limited it's not great, especially for a legendary. Next we have Heretic's Cannon. It's a 6 cost 2/2 weapon with Overwhelm, and when the wielder attacks you double its attack this turn. So effectively it's like a 4/2 weapon that also doubles the attack of the unit that it's wearing, basically. Still not that great. Sure, it gives you like kind of a nice damage boost. I can see it being an okay curve topper in limited for an aggressive fire deck to just kind of finish the opponent by slapping it on your biggest guy, turning everything sideways, and then they probably won't have enough stats to block it to not die. But it's nothing great, and definitely not constructed playable. Next we have Outdraw, another card that's limited only, but pretty solid in limited. The fact that it costs 6 kind of holds it back, but with Onslaught, which is a bit problematic because removal you usually want to play before combat, so Onslaught on a removal is a bit awkward. But if you get it with Onslaught, it's actually kind of nice, because then it effectively costs 2, which makes it a pretty decent card, but you also need a way to use the other 4 power that same turn, otherwise you're not really getting anything out of it. So all in all, I would say it's not that great, since costing 2 to deal 4 just to a unit is not even that great. It's just solid or good, but not great. And then on top of it you have the issue of having to attack first, even though you might want to kill a blocker. And then you have the issue of needing the 6 power in the first place to do it, and then also needing a play alongside it that uses up the 4 power. Like if you only use up 3 power, for example, it costs 3 power effectively and stuff like that. So the rate dwindles quickly. It's not a particularly great card, but I can see it being serviceable and limited. Next we have Aspect of Destruction, a card that has been spoiled very early. It's kind of cool. It's a better version of Bad News in a way. Instead of Warp, we get a 6/4 charge that also costs 1 power more and triple fire, making it a bit harder to cast. But yeah, if you play it post-combat or even pre-combat, if you happen to have a relic weapon, that's like the ideal scenario. You have a relic weapon, attack, play this and get to attack with it twice. But normally without that, you just attack with your units, play this, attack with your units plus Aspect of Destruction again, which is still pretty strong. So this card seems mainly like a great addition in a Charge Rod type deck in Constructed. Otherwise I don't see it being particularly relevant. But in Limited it's quite the powerhouse, quite the monster, so slam dunk. Next we have Bryn, Archmagister. He's a 7-cost 5/5, and when you play another card you get +1 power this turn. So there is some random combo potential here with cards like Vodakhan and stuff like that, but it is kind of fringe, and also, as you can already see, it's like double fire, triple time, triple justice, for example, and then you need to go off reliably. Bren kind of potentially fizzles your combo and stuff like that. So yeah, I don't know how much I like this. I haven't come up with a good idea with it yet. Maybe someone else has a way to break it. I haven't seen anything good yet with him, but there is something to keep in mind with cards that have such powerful, unique effects, even if we don't know yet what to do with them. And in Limited, I mean, the card's pretty underwhelming. It's basically a 7-cost 5/5, which is not great. Then we have Clan Barracks, another Limited-only card really. For 7, you get a relic that on Onslaught scouts and gives you a 4/4, which is not great, but if you scout again, you get another 4/4 and so on and so forth. But the thing is, how much scout do you really expect to get in your deck in Limited? Also, how much of that scout do you think you really have left by the time you drop Clan Barracks? So yeah, card's a bit too expensive and needs a bit too much to really work, I think. So I think even in Limited, I don't really see this being a viable option, most likely. And last but not least, we have Twin Flame. It's an 8-cost fast spell that deals 4 damage to 2 enemies, which is not constructed viable, but in Limited, this seems still pretty strong. 8 is a lot, but the fact that it has Warp and can effectively be a 3/1 and that it's fast make it pretty appealing, and I could see it as a one-off in certain Limited decks if you're not too aggressive and more of a mid-rangey deck. But yeah, card still is pretty expensive for what it does, so keep that in mind. And yeah, then I'll just talk about the 2 Fire Smugglers real quick to make sure we got those covered, and I don't need to do like an extra video on, I don't know, Smugglers and Insignias. Although actually I might do that because we have the Smugglers and a bunch of colorless cards, so I'll probably make one video at the end with the Smugglers and the colorless cards to cover those. So we'll hold out for that until then. Anyway, that concludes all of the fire cards. As usual, let me know in the comments what you think of the cards and my evaluations of them, and if you disagree, where and why. Also, if you enjoy the content, hit the like button, share it with your friends, leave a comment. All of this really helps the content, and of course, if you want to see more, hit the subscribe button and turn on the notification icon to not miss out on more. And please consider whitelisting EternalTitans.com and YouTube on your adblock if you haven't already, because that really helps us content creators a lot, creating new and free content for you guys. So that's it again for this time. I'm your host ManuS. I thank you for watching, and I see you next time with the time cards. Bye!